Watching Newsplus right here on ZTN Prime, channel 294 on DSTV. With me, Wadzanai Sansole. These are your top stories. President Mnangagwa has said Zimbabwe and Mozambique share a strong and unshakable bond of brotherhood that continues to strengthen year by year. The president was speaking after attending Mozambique's 50th Independence Day celebrations, which he said were a reminder of how Harare and Maputo had come. Our correspondent Wallace Ruzizo is on standby in Maputo with an update on the president's visit. The midterm budget review is around the corner and stakeholders are eager to hear from the Finance Minister, Professor Mthuli Ncube. Our news crew spoke to some stakeholders on their expectations. That story coming up later in the bulletin. Stay tuned. We shall also look at the specialized fast-track courts aimed at expediting the legal process, particularly for urgent or high-priority cases, by providing a more efficient way to resolve disputes and reduce the overall number of pending cases. And in sport, Dynamos coach Saul Chaminuka has been summoned by the Premier League Disciplinary Committee after his players walked out of the field of play protesting a penalty which had been awarded to FC Platinum at the weekend. And now a closer look at our top stories tonight. President Mnangagwa has said Zimbabwe and Mozambique share a strong and unshakable bond of brotherhood that continues to strengthen year by year. And earlier today, the SADC chairman attended Mozambique's 50th Independence Day celebrations, which he said were a reminder of how far Harare and Maputo had come, describing the two countries as twins. Mozambique served as the second springboard of Zimbabwe's liberation struggle, as several freedom fighters from Zimbabwe fought side by side with their Frelimo counterparts.
Mozambique and Zimbabwe are twins in the first place. We were assisted to acquire our independence by Mozambique. We were here when we were fighting Ian Smith, so we cannot forget the support, the revolutionary support we received from the people of Mozambique, in particular Frelimo, the party that hosted us and kept us here as we struggled against Ian Smith, waging our armed struggle against Smith. So there's that bond of brotherhood, that bond of the struggle between us and the people of Mozambique. We are brothers and sisters. What affects them will affect us. What affects us will affect Mozambique. We are twins, in my view. And of course, we, as the Zimbabweans, we prosecuted our war from here. And we were based here in Maputo as the political headquarters. But of course, more Chumoyo and so on, operational base as we launched our armed struggle into Zimbabwe. But at the political level, we were based here in Maputo.
Also in attendance at Mozambique's Golden Jubilee celebrations were other heads of state, including Tanzania's Samia Suluhu Hassan, Portugal's Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa, and Guinea-Bissau's Umaro Sissoko Embalo. Former heads of state, including Botswana's Mokgweetsi Masisi and Ian Khama, also attended the commemorations. Our correspondent Wallace Ruzizo attended these commemorations and gives us more details live from Maputo.
President Mnangagwa today attended Mozambique's 50th Independence Day celebrations held here in Maputo. The president joined other leaders, including from Tanzania, Portugal, and vice presidents from Malawi and South Africa. Former presidents were also in attendance at the Golden Jubilee celebrations. Before their attendance at the main celebrations held at the 45,000 capacity Machawa Stadium, the sitting leaders and former leaders took time to lay wreaths of flowers at Mozambique's National Heroes Monument in the morning. Following his attendance at the independence celebrations, the president was seen off Maputo International Airport by Zimbabwean ambassador to Mozambique, Comrade Victor Matemadanda, as well as other Mozambican government officials.
Thank you, Wallace, for that update. Meanwhile, President Mnangagwa is back home from Mozambique, where he participated in the sister country's 50th independence anniversary celebrations, which were held at Machawa Stadium in Maputo. He was welcomed by Vice President Kembo Mohadi, Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services Minister Dr. Jenfan Muswere, State Security Minister Lavmo Matuke, senior government officials and service chiefs. Now from Maputo, we come back to Harare, where anticipation is building around the upcoming 2025 midterm budget and economic review, with members of parliament and economic players sharing what they believe the finance minister should prioritize, from ease of doing business to rethinking the tax regime. Our business correspondent, Melissa Chatikobo, gives us more.
22-year-old Munyaradzi Muomo has big dreams for his business. It may be humble beginnings, but his long-term goal is to own a wholesale shop. He already has a name for it, Mulo Omo Wholesalers. Now Munyaradzi wants Finance Minister Mthuli Ncube to prioritize the ease of doing business through investing in infrastructure. He is ready to formalize and play his part in the tax base. Operating in Zimbabwe's informal sector, estimated to contribute nearly 60% of the economy, Munyaradzi says better roads are key to helping businesses like his grow. Economic players are alert as the finance minister prepares the 2025 midterm budget review. This comes at a time when the Zimbabwe economy has shown resilience, especially in the tobacco sector and also in the gold front. Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Industry and Commerce says it has done consultations all over Zimbabwe. The key concern submitted by captains of industry is on the ease and cost of doing business, especially in the tax regime.
The issue of the tax exemptions versus zero rating. So in this case, the business are saying we would need a zero rating, not tax exemptions, because where the players are not able to claim their VAT back, it is as good as if they are paying VAT.
The Budget and Finance Committee sees this as a chance to scrutinize disbursements and identify gaps in funding and implementation.
The minister is looking at gaps that were inadequately funded or were not funded at all in the first half of the year. So we are looking at areas to do with the support for infrastructure development, especially in the countryside. There are certain facilities that we have asked the minister to look at.
The big question is, will the budget review respond to the economic realities on the ground and chart a new path forward? Only time will tell. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I'm Melissa Chatikobo in Harare.
We now cross over to Blessing Nyatanga, an economist, to get industry's expectations from the midterm review. Good evening, Blessing. Thank you for joining us here on Newsplus this evening. What are your expectations as far as the midterm budget review is concerned?
Good evening, Wadzanai. I think there are three main issues that we actually expect from the midterm budget. The first is the issue of tax. Then the second is the issue of stability. And then the third aspect is the issue of growth. So I think I'll just explain these three in detail and at length. In terms of tax, I think from the midterm budget, we don't expect any tax hikes. I think the Ministry of Finance is assured that they will work on assigning expenditure more efficiently and actually do away with tax hikes, as this has been quite a challenge for various businesses. And then as far as stability and growth is concerned, we expect that there will be measures that will actually ensure the stability of the ZiG, which is the local currency. I think it will be very imperative to ensure that there are measures to increase demand for the ZiG. We go back to those issues like the purchasing fuel. We go to issues like purchasing passports and the issue of rentals. I think it is imperative to ensure that there are ways to increase demand for the local currency, which is the ZiG. And it will be very key for the Ministry of Finance to ensure that they put in those measures. They put in those measures that enhance demand for the ZiG.
So tell me, Blessing, this time around, are we to expect a supplementary budget? And in terms of recommendations, the IMF proposed a cash budgeting system. Why is this important to Zimbabwe?
I think that remains to be seen, but I actually hope there will be a supplementary budget to actually cater for those unforeseen events, to actually cater for issues like drought and the health issues which are actually relative and imperative at this juncture. So I think it will be important to have that supplementary budget that will actually cater for those unforeseen events and unforeseen economic issues. I think the two most important aspects that will actually be brought about by the cash budget is the issue of debt reduction and the issue of financial discipline. I think it will be, the cash budget is important because it will promote financial discipline and it will enhance a saving culture, and it will also promote the prudent use of the finances. So I think the cash budget is actually quite significant in ensuring that we enhance debt reduction and we also achieve financial discipline.
Thank you very much, Blessing. That was our economist, Blessing Nyatanga, sharing his insights on the midterm budget review. Now, Newsplus, we'll be right back.
Are you a player in Zimbabwe's media and broadcasting sector? Whether you are on radio, TV, print, online, in academia or the private sector, your voice matters. The Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe, BARZ, is conducting a national stakeholder survey to understand stakeholder needs and preferences regarding compliance data with the aim of improving its accessibility, format, and exploring potential monetization strategies. We want to hear from you, the content creators, broadcasters, publishers, digital innovators, and industry partners who keep our media ecosystem alive. Help us shape a future where our media is not only vibrant, but financially sustainable. To participate, visit our website at www.bars.co.zw. Scroll down to Featured Resources at the bottom of the homepage and select June 16, 2025. Your input will help develop a new framework for investing in, managing, and growing Zimbabwe's media industry. BARZ, celebration and expression of our cultural identity through broadcasting.
Asilwela ukunqoba kuphela, kepha silwela ukwakha isizwe esinohlonze. Sekunjalo.
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
That guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Welcome back. You're watching Wednesday's edition of Newsplus. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now, justice delayed is justice denied. That's an oftenly used pithy dictum in the legal fraternity. In essence, every minute counts in the justice system. But what if justice could come in just 72 hours? That's the vision behind the fast-track courts training program underway in Harare. Faith Nyaude was at the workshop and filed this report.
It is not just about speeding things up. It is about building a system where cases are solved quick, where the evidence is strong and the facts are clear without cutting corners. It is about building a system where suspects aren't just arrested, released and forgotten, where closure comes first and fast and accountability is seen by the public. The fast-track court will speed up cases while guaranteeing the right to a fair trial to all parties involved. The program is laying the groundwork for a new model of justice delivery. If a case has enough evidence, few witnesses and no delays, it should be resolved in just 72 hours.
But the guiding principle really is that they must not be complicated, they must not have many witnesses, and they must be cases that can be completed within the shortest period of time. Because we are putting a maximum of 72 hours, that a case must be completed within 72 hours.
It is a multi-stakeholder effort involving the Zimbabwe Republic Police, National Prosecuting Authority, Zimbabwe Prisons Correctional Service, the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, and the Judicial Service Commission, pooling manpower and data to clear bottlenecks.
This comprehensive multi-agency participation is not merely symbolic. It is the absolute bedrock upon which the success of fast-track courts will be built. Our ability to expedite justice effectively without compromising due process or the rights of any individual hinges entirely on our seamless interagency cooperation.
For years, the justice system in Zimbabwe has been accused of operating on a catch-and-release basis, arrests without outcomes, delays without closure. This program wants to flip that script.
Our interest as the police lies in ensuring that whenever crime is committed, justice is served timelessly to boost public confidence in the whole justice value chain.
Fast-track justice is also riding on the back of digital transformation like paperless filing, e-dockets and integrated court systems already rolled out in some provinces.
One day, you only need your equipment, you need your internet to be able to communicate and interact with each other. That will be the beauty of technology. What will only be left is the movement of the accused persons to court. But with technology, like we are saying, we can even arrange for a virtual hearing. You may not even need to take the accused person and the witness to court. We can do a virtual hearing probably at go to police station.
Speed and fairness aren't enemies, and this training hopes to prove that. But whether the 72-hour target becomes a rule or an exception will depend on what happens after the training and the rolling out of the program. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I'm Faith Nyaude in Harare.
And moving on, Zimbabwe is hosting the 4th annual Southern African National Public Health Institute conference over the next 3 days. The meeting brings together member states, public health practitioners, scientists and development partners with the aim of reinforcing the importance of research and development in the region. The region's sector continues to face various emerging challenges, with funding challenges amid pandemic outbreaks being among the key threats. Now, while officiating the meeting, Health and Childcare Dr. Douglas Mumbeshora highlighted the need for stronger collaborations in the region to tackle emerging health challenges.
Africa faces a significant disease burden, with various factors contributing to this challenge. Despite the increasing disease burden, Africa is continuing to mainly rely on donor funding for its health sector. To address the funding gaps in the region, Africa, through the Abuja Declaration, committed to allocate at least 15% of national budget to the health sector. Only a few countries have complied to the declaration, more than 20 years after the commitment was made. The Africa CDC argues Africa knows exactly what needs to be done to close the funding gaps.
It's a lesson learned. As in Africa CDC has taken the lead, and there's a green book that I've been just giving out. It's a book well thought on what African continent should be doing. It's titled Africa Rethinking Africa Health Finances in the New Era. It's a very simple book. he has put some 3 strategies on how the African continent should address these challenges of financing.
The Zimbabwean government reiterated the importance of strengthened public health institutes, noting these will go a long way in helping the region detect and respond to public health emergencies.
As a united front committed to advancing public health security and resilience across our region. As you may be aware, national public health institutes play a pivotal role in coordinating disease surveillance, outbreak detection and response, specialized diagnostics research, and workforce development. They serve as the scientific backbone for evidence-based health policies.
Africa CDC believes the pandemic and infectious disease outbreaks the region has witnessed over the years served as a wake-up call to invest in research and development.
The pillars number 1 is a call to all the countries in our Africa continent to establish functional national public health institute, which is very critical to serve as the backbone for the health system, for early detection, for response to any health emergencies at any given time.
The region can only ignore the call to strengthen domestic funding, research and development. It is on peril in the face of growing disease burden. For ZTN Prime, I am Mirira Nsingo in Harare.
Now, Zimbabwe has committed to investing in early childhood education, saying this will address challenges faced by learners in primary education. This was revealed at the launch of Ending Learning Poverty for All in Africa campaign in Zimbabwe today in Harare. The campaign, initiated by the African Union, is a collective commitment to address this pressing issue across the continent.
The program aims to provide targeted support to children who are falling behind, enabling them to catch up with their peers. This effort is crucial as the Zimbabwe Early Learning Assessment 2024 report indicates that 25% of the current grade 3 pupils lack proficiency in reading and writing. These statistics underscore the urgent need to strengthen foundational learning.
Zimbabwe also committed to invest in early childhood education, recognizing that the first 1,000 days of a child's life are crucial and require structured early learning stimulation.
Some studies show that children from lower socioeconomic backgrounds and other disadvantaged groups suffer larger learning losses. These interventions will enhance literacy and numeracy among young learners.
To ensure that Zimbabwe is on track, it's imperative that more robust monitoring and data is available to inform programming. As duty bearers, we are all obliged to ensure that we do not fail our children.
African Union said they are committed to continue prioritizing education, one of the key elements in Africa's development agenda.
Let us build a momentum. Let us act with agency. Let us deliver the promise of foundational learning for every African child, and together we will end learning poverty in Africa.
Improving literacy proficiency requires a shared commitment from various stakeholders. Such collaborative efforts will ensure the strategy is a success. For ZTN Prime, I am Sitachi Siwegwaza.
Zimbabwe has made remarkable progress in its prevention of mother-to-child transmission of HIV despite emerging challenges. The rate of mother-to-child transmission of HIV, including the breastfeeding period, declined from 10% in 2015 to 7.78% in 2018. Now, our correspondent Mirira Nsingo takes us to Seke District, where the community is playing its part in ensuring that no baby is born with HIV.
When 38-year-old Martha Mudamba from Seke District was first diagnosed HIV positive in 2020, she lost hope of ever having children. She did not even know about the prevention of the mother-to-child transmission program. Her life changed when she joined a support group in a village made up of people living with HIV.
Ndatanga kupinda pamushonga muna 2020 ndo pandakamwa mushonga wangu zvakanaka nepandakazosvika pakusununga mwana mwana wokutanga wa 2020 ndopandakapuwa mishonga yekupota ndichimupa kusvika ndazomurumura ndamurumura mbanoteswa mbaonekwa ari negative.
Mother's story is a reflection of the milestones so far achieved in National PMTCT program. Mother's husband, who is also HIV positive, has been a support system. They've walked this journey together and have 2 children who are HIV free.
Pane mapiritsi angu ndo pane padhuze namai ndotovayeuchidza kuti hatichitonwe mushonga kana vachindiyeuchidza mushonga ndo chinhu chandokoshesa kazhinji kunge chiri padhuze neni kuti ndo upenyu hwacho.
The country's HIV response coordinator, National AIDS Council, is optimistic an AIDS-free generation is possible despite emerging challenges such as funding gaps.
We are doing quite a number of programs that are targeted at various problems that are emerging within the communities. And each district and area has got its own problems, and therefore, in terms of interventions, these areas identify the interventions that target the problems that they are facing.
More than 1/3 of HIV infections in infants is through vertical transmission among 10 to 19-year-old adolescent mothers. With cadres like Martha who continue to consistently take their medication, the country can eventually end AIDS.
Ndinopa yambiro kune vakabatwa HIV positive kuti zvoni vasarase tariro. Ngavaramba vachitora mishonga yavo vachinwa zvakanaka, vachiita mhuri yavo zvakanaka, vachishandisa mishonga yevana mune zvakanaka.
Martha's dream is to see a Zimbabwe with an HIV-free generation. She is playing a part to contribute towards that goal. For ZTN Prime, I am Mirira Nsingo.
Today, Zimbabwe joined the rest of the world in celebrating World Vitiligo Day, which is running under the theme, Innovation for Every Skin. Now, vitiligo is a chronic autoimmune disease that causes the skin to lose pigment, resulting in white patches, and it is found in about 2% of the world population. The celebrations are meant to raise awareness on the condition and reduce stigma associated with it. Now, Rumbidzai Mugabe, a chef who has the condition, indicated that the celebration is an important day to demystify myths associated with this condition.
I have had vitiligo for 11 years. I'm 32 now, and it started when I was 21. World Vitiligo Day means that it's an opportunity for everybody to be exposed to the information surrounding the condition. And so when we focus on a particular day, it means that everybody is overwhelmed and basically engrossed in everything that is vitiligo.
Now, the Seventh-day Adventist Church has completed construction of Great Heights University in Mashonaland West Province's Chegutu area. The university is expected to transform the region and will have an initial intake of 5,000 students in January 2026, growing to 15,000 students when fully operational. Notably, Great Heights University will be the second university in Mashonaland West Province, with Chinhoyi University of Technology already serving the region. Now, Minister of State for Mashonaland West, Marian Chombo, commended the church's commitment to education and development in the area. She praised the church for supporting the government's efforts in providing social services.
I want to commend SDA. Techitanga Zimbabwe, taiziva kune vamissionary zvikoro zvemamissionaries. Kwedu kuchikoro pandakadzidzwa kuti taiziva kuti ndechemamissionaries. Tikatarisa mahwisiri vane zvavo, tikatarisa maroma vane zvavo, and so forth. But muno taichemera university, toda second university, but we never thought kuti our own SDA would think of having that university, that institution of higher learning here in Mash West, let alone in Chegutu.
Now, the SDA Church committed to continue to complement the government's Education 5.0 program by providing technology and innovation-based solutions to the country's challenges.
Chinangwa cheuniversity ndechekuti chive igovayo ruzivo rwacho rubve pano pauniversity kuti nyika yedu irambe ichisimukira mazuva ose.
Designed our programs to be bringing solutions
to problems that the country might be having. So rather than just producing academias, we are also producing people who are bringing solutions to the challenges.
South African court holds burial of Zambia's ex-president. That story right ahead.
Big in the EcoCash Chakachaya Ziawaku EcoCash promotion with over 200,000 winners. Earn at least 20 points when you cash in, send money, buy airtime or data, make payments, receive money from the diaspora, or receive your salary via EcoCash. And you could be in the running to win an all-expenses-paid trip to watch an AFCON match in Morocco, a holiday for two in Dubai, solar kits, cows, fridges, gas stoves, motorbikes, cash, airtime, and so much more. It's simple. Simply transact, earn points, and win in the Chakachaya Ziawaku EcoCash promotion. Dial *151# or use the EcoCash app now. EcoCash. Live life the EcoCash way.
Crowd goes absolutely emphatic. He has done
it. Get ready for more on SuperSport, the only place to watch all the FIFA Club World Cup.
This is Newsplus, and we're coming to you live from Harare. Now, a South African court has halted plans to bury former Zambian President Edgar Lungu at a private ceremony just as it was about to start. The news was only announced to mourners in South Africa after a funeral mass had already finished. This is the latest twist in a row between the government and Lungu's family over his burial, after the family opted for a private ceremony in South Africa rather than a full state funeral back home. The Zambian government had filed an urgent case in the Pretoria High Court seeking to stop the burial planned by his family. The court said that the funeral would not go ahead following an agreement between the parties. However, it appears that any funeral won't happen until August at the earliest. The dispute follows a long-standing feud between Lungu and his successor, President Hakainde Hichilema, with Lungu's family saying he had indicated that Hichilema should not attend his funeral. And moving on, a fresh humanitarian crisis is unfolding in South Kivu, where over 100,000 residents have been left without access to drinking water. The interruption occurred on June 20 when unidentified armed men intimidated staff at the water source in Mazigiro, forcing them to shut off the water supply valves. The shutdown of the Mazigiro water catchment area has left families struggling amid the dry season and a resurgence of cholera.
Hapa nikiashuta maji kwa juu rejidezo siku mingi alitumia maji ndio tunaona pale tubaki kwa juu maji ndio mtu pale tubaki na atukunywa atufanye kitu tunaona tukika hata maji kwa juu iko anasaidia kitu fulani hii maji hapana haiko safi kwa ajili hapa mimi nikiashuta kwa juu ya ni fule ya kufula tu ndezi sukula viatu yangu nyoa nikishota me rejidezo kasi jikaze sana tutumie maji.
Meanwhile, locals have resorted to unsafe natural springs to meet their daily needs. According to international organizations, more than 50% of Congolese lack access to safe drinking water, contributing to frequent outbreaks of waterborne diseases such as cholera, dysentery, and typhoid fever.
Le danger, c'est que si nos réservoirs ne sont pas alimentés, il n'y aura pas possibilité qu'on puisse alimenter des quartiers comme Mungu, Panzi, Giamba, Chai. Ce sont ces quartiers-là qui seront sans eau. Pendant que si les réservoirs Nyatanga, Kassié ne sont pas alimentés par des sources. Pour pallier ce problème, la régie des eaux n'est pas inarmée. La régie des eaux n'est pas armée puisque ces gens sont armés. Connaissons très bien que ce milieu est vraiment insécurisé. La régie des eaux ne peut pas s'hasarder à envoyer ces techniciens là-bas au risque qu'ils perdent leur vie.
Now on to another story from the world around us. The leaders of the Western Defensive Alliance have gathered in The Hague, where they are set to commit to spending 5% of national output on defense and related infrastructure. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said there is no alternative to the 32 member states spending more on defense. It is US President Donald Trump's first NATO summit since 2019, and as he traveled, he appeared to raise questions about the alliance's mutual defense guarantee, under which an attack one member is seen as an attack on all. Now moving on, 30-year-old Andrea Marazzi from Bagnalo, Cremasco, a small town 40 kilometers east of Milan, has stunned car enthusiasts with his latest invention, the world's narrowest Fiat Panda, at just 50 centimeters wide. After a year of meticulous work involving cutting, welding, and reshaping the iconic car's body, Marazzi unveiled his creation and explains how the vehicle runs, showing the battery and fully functioning cabin that was built around the size of his torso.
Tutta la carrozzeria è stata tagliata, riassemblata, saldata, stuccata, verniciata, lavoro eccezionale, barre sul tetto, guarnizioni, come ho detto prima specchietti, antenna, guarnizioni dei vetri.
It's now time for us to take a look at what's happening in the world of business.
The Rural Electrification Fund, REF, is inviting bids from reputable bidders for the following tenders. Tender number 1, REF Domestic 1605-2025 Domestic Tender. Item description: construction of perimeter walls and guardrooms for various REF provincial stands. Total quantity 3. Closing date and time 11 July 2025 at 10 a.m. Tender number 2, REF Domestic 1605-2025 Domestic Tender. Item description: provision of vehicle tracking services for REF vehicles. Total quantity 1. Closing date and time 27 June 2025 at 10 a.m. Tender number 3, REF Domestic 1605-2025 Domestic Tender. Item description: supply and delivery of biogas scrubbers and cleaning equipment. Total quantity 1. Closing date and time 27 June 2025 at 10 a.m. Tender number 4, REF Domestic 1605-2025 Domestic Tender. Item description: supply and delivery of a 32-seater Toyota minibus. Total quantity 1. Closing date and time 27 June 2025 at 10 a.m. Bidding documents are available on the electronic government procurement system egp.pras.org.zw. Bid submission shall also be done on the EGP system not later than the dates and times stated above. The site visit for construction works for perimeter walls and guardrooms tender shall be as follows: Matabeleland North Province, Lupane, 19 June 2025 at 11 a.m. Mashonaland Central Province, 24 June 2025 at 11 a.m. Mashonaland West Province, 25 June 2025 at 11 a.m. Rural Electrification Fund, Magetsi Kumusha, Amagetsi Ekaya.
Harare, tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
In our first business story, Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare Minister Edgar Moyo has challenged the new National Social Security Authority, NASA board, to enhance efficiency in providing security for pensioners and workers. Minister Moyo said this while officiating at the unveiling ceremony of the new NASA board in Harare this Wednesday. Now, the board consists of 10 members with representatives from government and the business sector. The board chairman is Christopher Dube, who is the town clerk of Bulawayo, replacing prominent businessman Emmanuel Fundira. Other board members include Head of Human Capital Development and Management Agency in the Public Service Commission, Walter Mpandawana, Gilbert Takavarasha, Director of Human Resources and Administration at Dairy Board, Ruth Sibanda, who is the Secretary of the Zimbabwe Federation of Trade Unions, Josephine Takundwa, who is the Zimbabwe Media Commission Deputy President, and Zimbabwe Confederation of Public Sector Unions Secretary General, David Zatsunga, among others.
There is need to pay reasonable and meaningful pensions which have an impact on the levels of pensioners. Once the funds are misused, dreams of pensioners will never be realized. This is where we face biggest challenges due to misplaced investments, poor investment decisions, poor due diligence processes, corruption and general mismanagement. However, this was our historical experiences, but we have since seen some improvements in those areas from the outgoing board and management, which is still in place.
Now, there is growing momentum behind calls to establish mining economic zones, MEZs, in Zimbabwe as a strategic lever to accelerate industrialization, investment inflows, and inclusive growth. Industry leaders argue that MEZs, special geographic areas with dedicated infrastructure, streamlined regulations, and fiscal incentives can serve as catalysts for value addition, export growth, and localized beneficiation. Experts stress that MEZs can help unlock the full economic potential of Zimbabwe's mineral wealth, particularly in high-demand resources like lithium, platinum, and rare earths.
There are other models that have worked in other countries. For instance, you can establish special mining economic zones in the same way as we are establishing the general special economic zones.
Right.
You identify areas that are predominated by specific minerals, then you establish the mining economic zones, where deliberately government says this is a mining economic zone for this special or specific mineral. And we have got all the infrastructure in there. If there are small-scale miners who cannot, for example, engage in exploration to define the resource, then government, together with other private partners, triple Ps, go in there, establish a fund that will allow small-scale miners to access exploration rigs, crushers, jackhammers, for example, for mining, processing equipment that are centralized, where everyone else is mining and they are bringing to these centralized areas for further processing. We've begun that in Zimbabwe with processing centers that are established across every province. We've done well in that area, but we can go deeper, we can do better and make sure we avail to these small-scale miners the entire range of equipment that they need.
The Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, VFEX, recorded a 117% surge in turnover to $58.51 million in the first quarter of 2025, driven by increased demand for safe haven investments and special negotiated trades. The jump in market activity reflects growing investor confidence in the US dollar-denominated exchange. A subsidiary of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, ZSC, VFEX, was established to support the development of the Offshore Financial Services Centre, OFSC, within the Victoria Falls Special Economic Zone. Now, the exchange has attracted several listings, mostly companies migrating from the ZSC, drawn by incentives and the ability to raise capital in foreign currency. Now, still on business, the 2025 Summer Davos Forum, which kicked off in North China's Tianjin municipality on Tuesday, has seen extensive discussions among industry leaders on AI development and application, shedding light on how AI will transform industries. The three-day forum, themed Entrepreneurship in the New Era, has drawn around 1,800 participants from nearly 90 countries and regions. The day one discussion centered more on industrial transformation, AI-powered factory upgrades, and emerging technologies. Now, many senior international executives and entrepreneurs expressed optimism about an AI-assisted future. Peter Court, member of the managing board of Siemens AG, who also serves as both Chief Technology Officer and Chief Strategy Officer, said many people are scared that AI is going to take away brain work, but he believes it actually is going to create more.
I believe if you draw the comparison to what we saw in the 90s, where actually we saw the advent of robotics on the shop floor, many people were scared because they were thinking actually it's going to take job away. But if you walk around today, there's more employment than ever. And what we've seen with robotics is that was replacing the muscle of the humans. Now with AI, what we're going to see is the same thing for the brain. So now many people are scared that actually it's going to take away brain work. But we believe actually it's going to create more. Why? Because it's going to replace repetitive work where you have to do things over and over again, which we as humans are not really particularly good at. And we can focus our creativity, our empathy, our ability to see the bigger picture and create new business opportunities. So the way we think about this is actually the best is yet to come.
Now, in specific sectors, AI has already made an impact, and global innovators have been actively seeking chances to introduce AI into conventional workflows. Gong Rujing, founder and chairperson of YiduTech, a pioneer company in AI-driven healthcare transformation, added that software development is the #1 area that is being affected by AI.
So software development is definitely I think the #1 that's being affected by the AI. And also I think healthcare, because healthcare is research in healthcare is very, very expensive. Not only on drug developments, which we say about $1 billion 10 years, and also the diagnosis and also insurance are very costly. And so we see about 20% of GDP being spent into healthcare in the US, and China is growing very, very fast. So our company, YiduTech, we have helped our clients to process about 6 billion medical records, and we have a large data infrastructure that being used by the hospitals, regulators, as well as insurance companies and pharma companies. And we see a huge reduction on cost and operational efficiency for all those clients.
Notably, a widespread consensus among industry leaders is that AI will not replace human beings or lead to job losses. Human-AI collaboration would be a power efficiency booster, yielding more time for creativity. Now, Jean Mania, president of Kipler, a Brussels-based data and analytics platform for traders, said they can see that the trading industry will be affected a lot by AI.
So in our industry, we can see that the trading industry will be affected a lot. You will have at some point probably some agentic traders taking positions directly on the markets. being commodities, being equities, derivatives. That's clearly something we see happening. We work, for example, a lot with hedge funds, and we know they are investing a lot of money trying to see. For now, it's not completely operational. You're still a human in the loop, and I think will still be the case, but probably you will have one human managing hundreds agentic AI at some point. So you can a way to demultiply the power of one human with the right tools.
That's it from the economic landscape. Coming up is entertainment. Chimurenga musician Kurai Makore is set to embark on a tour of the United Kingdom in August, a well-deserved recognition of his talent and dedication. The 37-year-old has overcome numerous challenges, transitioning from a bus conductor and vendor to a celebrated musician living his dream. Now known for his high-energy performances and meticulously choreographed acts, Makore has captured the attention of many promoters since being introduced to the music scene by his uncle, Thomas Mukanya Mapfumo. And in an interview with Zimpaper's Arts and Entertainment Hub, he shared his anticipation, anxiety, and focus on his goals. And still on entertainment, models competing for Miss and Mr. Rural Zimbabwe 2025 can now prepare in earnest following the announcement of a comprehensive itinerary by the pageant organizers. The initiative seeks to provide traditional chiefs with ample time for preparations while ensuring that the models remain alert and ready. Now, pageant founder Sipho Mazibuko, who has actively engaged local chiefs, believes that this initiative is a significant step in promoting Zimbabwe's cultural heritage. Now, saxophonist Alain Otayek performed amidst missile strikes in Lebanon, capturing a moment of unexpected resilience and the therapeutic power of music during chaos. Making music, not war, was the mission of Otayek, who perched himself on a rooftop in Lebanon instead of taking cover from the missiles that were flying through the sky. He has now become more famous as a result of this. Now, coming up is sport.
They call me Racer X, or in this case, Racer J. Right.
Put your seatbelt on.
Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting, and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erika Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play.
The one story where you can't get out of your head. Wakatarisa munhu so Erika like where you are sitting. Ndozongokona bata face so pasina munhu.
Wakasiya music yako yo afro chakuti ndo music manje no yeMzimbabwe.
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so
Shona kana kuti chindevere kana mumwe mutaure muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe. Ndiwo rupawo rwako. Ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erika Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
Dynamos Football Club, along with their head coach Saul Chaminuka, have been summoned to appear before the PSL's disciplinary committee, facing charges of causing the abandonment of their league match against FC Platinum at Mandava on Sunday, 22 June 2025. Dynamos is being charged with causing the abandonment of the game and ungentlemanly conduct by the team's technical officials. Chaminuka has also been charged for disturbing the normal proceedings of a match, causing abandonment, ungentlemanly conduct, and issuing reckless statements to the media likely to bring the game, sponsors, the league, ZIFA, CAF, or FIFA into disrepute. Now, Dynamos head coach Saul Chaminuka told the media today that he is looking forward to defending himself before the disciplinary committee.
No, I don't think that will, because we are going to be talking about what happened on the field of play, and that's my area. And I don't think I will fail to answering their questions. It will be a question of how they want to take it. Otherwise, we are going to talking football, and I think I'm the specialist when it comes to that area.
Now, the Lady Chevrons will make their historic debut in the ICC Women's Championship when they tour New Zealand for a white ball series early next year. The landmark tour will see the Lady Chevrons face New Zealand women in 3 one-day internationals scheduled for 5, 8 and 11 March 2026 at the University of Otago Oval in Dunedin. The Lady Chevrons were included in the prestigious global competition for the first time following its expansion from 10 to 11 teams in November 2024. Now, according to the ICC's Future Tours program, the Lady Chevrons will travel to play New Zealand women, India women, Bangladesh women, and Pakistan women while hosting South Africa women, West Indies women, Sri Lanka women, and Ireland women. And still on sport, South Africa's senior men's national cricket team wasted no time in getting down to business as they held their training sessions at Queen's Sports Club this morning ahead of their landmark test series against Zimbabwe, scheduled to get underway on Saturday at the same venue. Now, the Proteas, who arrived in Bulawayo on Tuesday, will have 3 days of practice before action gets underway. Head coach Shukri Conrad is not expecting an easy run against the Chevrons and is looking forward to what promises to be an enthralling tour. Still in Bulawayo, rugby fans are in for a treat this weekend as a derby match pitting defending champions Old Miltonians, OMS, and former champions Matabeleland Warriors is set to headline Game Week 5 of the Archer Clothing Rugby League at Hartsfield Grounds on Saturday. Now, the first installment of the derby promises a fiery encounter with both teams yet to taste defeat in their opening 4 games of the season. National Athletics Association of Zimbabwe President Tendai Tagara has commended Harare Athletics Board Chairman Aaron White for attaining a marathon route markers qualification. He becomes the first Zimbabwean to attain that certification and is eligible to mark routes for cross-country and marathons at national level. Now, the association has expressed pride in White's accomplishment, which will see local races gain in value and attract international athletes as they will be certified. Now, that story wraps up our bulletin this evening. Thank you very much for watching. Good night from myself, Wadzanai Sansole, and the crew behind the scenes.